If you have ever felt confused about the differences between say, talk, speak, tell, discuss, and mention, then this video will be perfect for you. My name's Grant, I'm an award-winning business English coach, and my job is to help you become the best English communicator possible. In this video, we are going to go in depth learning exactly how to use each of those 6 words. Then at the end of the video, you will get a chance to practice everything you learned so your English can be correct, confident, and natural. Let's start with say. You want to use say whenever you're giving the exact words or opinion that a person has. This can be with a direct quote where you are literally copying their words. For example, she said, "Our application will save your business time and money." Or as a paraphrase, where you're just summarizing what someone said. For example, she said, "Her company's application will save us time and money." Now, this doesn't have to be a super long quote. It can be short. It can even be a single word. For example, "The client said yes, we'll send them the contract tomorrow." But the main point here is that say is with the exact words or opinion that a speaker has. You want to use talk in a few different situations. The first one would just be for the general action of verbal communication. For example, "He talks too much." Also, you can add to or with when you give a person, when you're saying that you're communicating with that person. For example, "Did you talk to or did you talk with the client today?" Last, you can add about after the word talk whenever you're giving the topic of a conversation. Notice the difference here. We met today to talk about her company's application. That would just be the topic of the conversation. She said her application can save our business time and money. Her exact words. So the main difference here is that say is used with a speaker's exact words, while talk can be used for the general action of communicating, the person that you're speaking with, or the topic of a conversation. Similarly, you can use discuss whenever you're giving the topic of a conversation. Earlier, we looked at the example, "I met with her to talk about her company's application." That would be the topic. We could also say, "I met with her to discuss her company's application." The meaning here would be basically the same, and both of these sentences are correct. The most common structure that you want to use with the verb discuss would be discuss, and then immediately give the topic. And if you give a person, you would say with, and then the person. Discuss usually does not sound natural without the topic of the conversation. Look at this sentence. "We will discuss at the next meeting." This doesn't sound complete. You need to give more information. So instead, you should say, "We will discuss this report at the next meeting." That would be a full sentence. So the person is not required, but the topic generally is. Whenever you give discuss, you want to immediately give the topic of that conversation. Tell is a little bit confusing because it can be used in a very similar way to both say and talk, depending on the situation. The first situation where you can use tell would be if you have your subject and then tell a person specific information. This would be similar to say. For example, "My manager told me we're going to open 2 new offices next year." That's very similar to "My manager said to me we're going to open 2 new offices next year." You can also use a subject tells a person about and then a topic, and this is pretty similar to talk about, but there is one small difference. For example, "My manager told me about our company's plans for next year," or "She told me about her company's application." These are similar to talk about, but the main difference is that when you say talk about, that usually implies a two-way discussion where both people are speaking. When you say a person told another person about information or a topic, that's more of a one-way flow of communication. So when my manager tells me about a topic, that's mostly him just speaking to me without me really responding. But if you say that you talked about something with your manager, that would be more of a two-way flow of communication. Another detail is that you almost always should include the person immediately after tell, but there are a few exceptions. So a few sentences that don't follow that rule. For example, he told a really funny joke. That is also correct, but generally speaking, you always want to give the person that's receiving the information after the verb tell. Last, you can use tell person to action whenever you're talking about a command. For example, the team leader told me to postpone the meeting. Or I told him to call us again tomorrow. Now let's talk about speak. Speak can be used in a similar way to talk, however, it's a little bit more formal and professional sounding. So would it be possible to talk with the head of HR and would it be possible to speak with the head of HR have basically the same exact meaning, but the second sentence sounds a little bit more formal. Speak can also be used whenever you're giving an official lecture or presentation. For example, I will speak at the FinTech conference this weekend, as well as with languages. When you're talking about someone's ability to understand a language, you can use speak. I can speak 3 languages. We're looking for a developer who can speak both English and Korean. Finally, let's talk about mention. Mention can be used whenever you're introducing a topic or information that is not the main point or the most important point of a conversation. Mention has a nuance that means you talked about something, but it's not super important. For example, in this video, Grant mentioned he has more English resources on his website. That would be correct because I did say that, but it's not the main point of this video. However, if I said in this video, Grant mentioned the differences between say, talk, discuss, that would be incorrect because that's kind of the main point of this video. So you don't want to use mention with important key topics. Here's one more example. During the meeting, he mostly explained our team's financial performance, but he also mentioned that our monthly marketing budget is increasing. This would mean he said and he talked about the marketing budget, but it wasn't really the main point of the meeting. All right, now it is your turn to practice. For each blank below, insert one of the words that you learned in this video. You can pause the video, and when you're ready to see the answers, click play. Okay, here we go. We really should talk or speak more about our pricing. Either one could be correct in this sentence. Another client told me they really like the product but can't afford it right now. I know we've already discussed this last meeting, but we're losing a lot of potential clients. Last quarterly meeting, John mentioned offering a discounted product trial. I think that's a great idea. This would mean that he said it, but it wasn't the main point of the meeting. Could someone talk or speak to the regional director about this? Even if he says no, his exact words, he'll at least understand the problem a little bit more. So in summary, you want to use say with the actual words or opinions someone has, use talk for the action of communicating with a person, or a topic of a conversation. Use discuss with topics, discuss topic with person, and use tell with a person you're speaking to when you're either giving your exact words, the topic with about, or to and then a command, what you want them to do. Use speak as a formal version of talk, with languages as well as with official lectures and presentations. And finally, you want to use mention with topics and information that are not the main point of a conversation. All right, that is all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful. If you haven't done so, you should definitely hit that subscribe button before you leave so you can keep getting these free business English lessons and becoming a more confident communicator. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.